All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your 9407 class, which is your intellectual freedom in its discontents class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. JSK Austin. And this week, what we'll be doing, in addition to our state of the course update, we will be talking about. I will be talking about. Actually, I won't be talking about the topic that our modules are focused on, but I can talk about that when I'm interacting with you all in the discussion boards and that sort of thing. So I don't really feel that my check-in videos need to match the content of the modules. If there's something else that I feel needs to be talked about or something else that I want to talk about, which is going to be the case this week. And what I want to talk about this week when it comes to intellectual freedom is apologies to a script. And I will tell you what I mean when I get there. But first, let's jump into these state of the course updates. All right, so yes, again, let's get into these state of the course updates. First of all, the most important thing to know is that your band and challenge book report is due this coming Sunday, October the 23rd. So I've only gotten one so far, but hey, they're not due yet. So having one so far is not a big deal, as long as I get the remaining 39 this weekend. So I look forward to by this weekend. So I look forward to that. But you do again have an example for those of you who are kind of nervous and not sure, exactly what you're going to do or that sort of thing. We do have a sample post from, it's actually the post that Jim Rich submitted back in 2020. He has agreed to let me use his content, so that content is put here. So he did his challenged and banned book report on a separate piece. He did a very good job, and so this is a model that you can use. However, as is stated somewhere in here, yes, I have an example post from 2020 that you don't have to use as a guide. But if you're totally lost, then this guide may soothe your nerves. So if you're not sure what I'm looking for, then definitely that James Rich submission, it did get a perfect score. So if you are able to match something in quality to that, then you should get a perfect score as well. So that's that example is there, and hopefully you all will be up to the challenge. Also, please keep in mind, I will be looking for proper APA usage. So in my other class this semester, my reference class, I did what I always do, which is I do have a check-in video where I do always have a check-in video where I talk about common APA mistakes. And I had that check-in video in that reference class, just like I had it in this class. And a third of the class still did their APA improperly. And so I had to give a lot more point deductions than I wanted to give. If you do not know how to do APA, or if you think, let me put it this way. If you have successfully done APA in one of my classes before, or you have looked through the style guide and you know how APA goes, then fine. However, if you think you might not have complete mastery of APA, I recommend you go back and look at that video if you haven't looked at it already. Because the things that I'm going to be looking for, and the mistakes that a third of my other class made, were mistakes that I said were common APA mistakes. They made the exact mistakes that I warned them not to make. Again, I do realize the videos are optional. However, the announcements and reading the announcements themselves, that is not optional. And one thing that I just say is, unless you feel you have mastered APA, you might want to go ahead and watch this video. So for those of you who do not feel that you have mastered APA, please do not overestimate your skills. Please watch the video, and that way I can avoid having to deduct points because you made the same mistakes that I warned you not to make. So APA does have a very weird capitalization scheme. And so that's why we have down here, as you can see, there's a little attachment, and that is an excerpt from the APA 7 style guide about APA's quirky capitalization. I recommend you be aware of that. All right. So, having said that, that is the first thing. Again, I do have one of the book reports already turned in. I look forward to seeing the rest. And so that's going to be cool. Another thing to talk about in the state of the course update is that I am All right, so the next thing that I want to just kind of jump into really quick is that I am feeling better. So there shouldn't be any more delays with reaching out to me. That's a very quick announcement. And then the last thing that I wanted to say as far as state of the course concerns is that I do have your, let me go back into the syllabus so that you even know what I'm talking about, because you probably don't even know what I'm talking about at this point because it's been so long. I do have a 12-point intellectual freedom project for you all to do, and it's going to be very, very easy, and I'll upload that in the course probably on Thursday, and you'll have until the end of the semester to do it. But it's going to be very easy because what I've realized or what I've discovered or what I've come to. So what future classes are going to have to do, my future classes are going to have to, but they're going to get the assignment at the beginning of the semester. And what they are going to have to do is they are going to have to go before a library board or go before a city council or town council meeting or something like that. And they are going to have to give public comments, school board, whatever the case may be. And they are going to have to give public comments either in favor of or against either a library policy related to intellectual freedom or in favor of or against a book that is contained within the library collection, either at a public library, academic library, or school library, whatever the case may be. But because you all would realistically only have a month to do this, because we've got about 2 months left before the end of the semester, or really a month and a half, but you also have to take out that Thanksgiving time and everything. So you all just don't realistically have the time to go and make public comments. Now, if you do want to do that, you can email me. And if you think you can do it in the month of November, just email me and let me know that that's your plan. And I'll let you do that in lieu of the assignment that I'm going to assign for this class. But again, you don't really have the time to do that this week, okay? This semester. So, what you all will have for that remaining 12 points, is going to be very, very scaled back from what, for what future classes are going to have to do. My mind is all over the place. I am still a little sick, but not nearly what I was last week. So, my mind, though, is still a little all over the place. But let's jump into what I wanted to talk about as the subject matter for this week. And I'm going to try to talk about it in 10 minutes flat. And then, of course, you can speed these videos up. So if I talk about it in 10 minutes, then that should end this video in about 18 minutes, which would be a good video length, especially if you sped the video up. So give me one moment. Okay, so this is probably going to be, to some of you, a very odd topic to talk about in an intellectual freedom class, but this is where I am. It's weighing on my heart pretty heavily based on some things that happened last week, and so I do believe that it is, this is something that needs to be addressed in this class, and I'm going to go ahead and address it, give my little 2 cents, and if you disagree, you're more than welcome to disagree with me in the free-for-all discussion area. You can disagree with me in my email or whatever the case may be. You are perfectly welcome to email me because this is going to be an opinion that I'm going to give, but I do think it's a pertinent opinion based on how society is right now and how social media is and how our profession is right now. So let me first show you all what happened. Okay, so here we are. First of all, this is what happened last week on Indigenous Peoples Day, as I refer to it. Black Caucus of the American Library Association, which I am a life member of, they had this tweet come up. Today, we commemorate the landing of Christopher Columbus in our nation. His search for an alternative route gave him an opportunity to discover the new world, gain inspiration to be an active explorer by broadening your knowledge. Happy Columbus Day, New York, New York. Holy shit. Twitter just erupted when this happened. Library Twitter just erupted when this happened. I won't say all of Twitter erupted when this happened. I'm sure a lot of Twitter doesn't really care about library Twitter. But for those of us who care about library Twitter, this was a disaster. And I am a life member of the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, and I have held many roles in that organization. One thing that people of color are trying to get away from is pro-colonial language and pro-colonial rhetoric. And that includes this appreciation of Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus is not generally regarded very positively among a lot of people of color, especially indigenous people, because, quite frankly, he was a colonizer, and he also murdered and enslaved some indigenous people in the New World. And by the way, he never actually landed in the present day United States of America. So this is not, this isn't even accurate. But having said that, here's the issue. Here's the issue when it comes to this. When this broke, a lot of people just felt like, a lot of other people of color and a lot of black people just felt very disturbed by it. They were like, okay, BCALA, why are y'all doing this? We know that Christopher Columbus is seen negatively by a lot of people of color in this nation. What's going on? BCALA apparently, and I've gotten a pretty good source on this. So BCALA, they outsource their social media. I'm not exactly sure why. I used to be on their social media team, and that was not the case when I was on their social media team. It's perfectly legit to just run social media with people you have in-house. So I don't know why they were outsourcing that. But anyway, they were outsourcing it, and they were outsourcing it to a foreign company that is based in China. So this actually came from somebody in China who does not have the understanding of why people of color here in the United States don't have a favorable view of Christopher Columbus, right? So that's how this happened. It was taken down, and BCALA did apologize. They put this apology up 2 days later. And the apology has also not met with good energy. And so that's what I want to talk about. A lot of people are calling the apology weak. A lot of people are trying to tell BCALA how they should apologize. Now, this is a very complicated issue, and because, again, I'm going to try to keep this a little shorter, and I am pressed for time anyway, I'm still catching up on from last week. It's a very complicated issue. First of all, indigenous people, and nobody is required to accept an apology. Okay, nobody is required to forgive you. And so indigenous people and anyone else who who was offended, upset, hurt by that post, nobody is required to accept an apology, and I get that. So I don't want that to be the focus of this. I don't know who has and who has not accepted BCALA's apology, but what they did was they apologized, they explained what happened, and, they said they were going to move on. Now, here is my issue with some of the responses, and I'm not actually going to go down and reveal whose responses said what in this video. There's no need to do that. What I am going to say, however, is that one of the things that BCALA is being criticized on when it comes to this apology is basically for not knowing the art of an apology. And that's really what I want to focus on, is this idea that you see in Twitter, in a lot of places in Twitter, not just library Twitter, but all over Twitter. People now will link to you these suggestions on how you apologize, what makes an effective apology, and so forth and so on. And people were doing that sort of thing here. They were saying, this isn't a real apology. It's blah, blah, blah. What I want to say to that is a heartfelt apology it can't be done to a script. This is where I think we are really messing up in the social media age. This isn't the thing that I think we're messing up on, but this is one of the areas that I think we are messing up on. One of many areas in the social media age that I think we're messing up on is this idea that apologies should be done to a script. When something is heartfelt, it's not done to a script. Like, if you see somebody who is on stage delivering this speech, and the speech is great, and, it's the most wonderful speech you can imagine, and other people are learning how to do public speeches based on this speech. When people do that, and they have those scripted speeches, what they're doing, their words may be heartfelt, but those are the words that they're putting together for themselves, right? If they wrote their own speech, then it's heartfelt, but it's their words. If they had speech writers, I don't see how you make the case that it's heartfelt, because, yeah, they delivered the speech, but it was a speech that was written in part by other people. So it's a speech that's not necessarily coming from your heart, which again is fine. That's perfectly fine. However, I also look at this when it comes to apologies and criticizing apologies and telling people, and I see this on Twitter all the time. This isn't the first time I saw it, and it won't be the last, as far as people telling you how to apologize. My thing about that is if somebody's going to give a heartfelt apology, then they are going to use their words and explain what happened. They're not going to follow some webpage that's telling you how to apologize. To me, it's ridiculous to expect people to have to give you a heartfelt apology to a script, or give a heartfelt apology to a blueprint that wasn't a blueprint that they produced. If you're doing that, then these are not coming from the heart. If I Google how to make an apology and then I base my apology on what I Googled, then that's no longer just me coming from the heart and being sincere. This is me doing research to figure out how I should apologize, and then doing the apology the way my research told me to do the apology for the sake of keeping the best public image. Okay? And I don't think that that's heartfelt. And I think that's a really strange direction that dialogue is going in right now in our country. When people say you have to apologize this way, they are taking the personal element out of the apology. They're taking the sincerity out of the apology and telling you apologize to a guideline. And that's something that I don't agree with. And it's something that I want you all to maybe consider and ruminate on. Because again, this will not be the last time that a library organization apologizes for something that it messed up on. And so when that happens, I really hope that you all become a class that can appreciate good faith efforts in apologies and in making things right. But we have a lot of librarians who are just not like that. A lot of librarians are addicted to anger, and they take their anger out on other librarians. I'm going to keep it, okay, I'm going to go probably to 20 minutes, but I'm going to keep it all the way real right now. A lot of librarians are just people who take a lot of crap from people, and then they take it out on other librarians because other librarians are safe people to take it out on. And I've seen that myself. In fact, I've seen some people that I knew would not bust a grape in a food fight, but they had all the smoke from me on social media. And then when I saw them in person at a conference, they were like freaking turtles. And I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'9". I'm 185 pounds. I'm not a huge guy. But when they saw me in person, they really didn't have the same smoke for me that they had behind their little computer, being a little Twitter gangster or a little Facebook gangster. And so that's one of the things that I want you all to kind of keep in mind as well, is that when people reject these apologies, and you'll see one person reject the apology, and then there's like a pile on. This happens in library social media a lot. And the reason it happens, I think, is because people are rejecting good faith efforts to make things right, because they want to hold on to that anger, because their anger, it's therapeutic for them to have anger. It's therapeutic for them to have anger and be able to take it out on somebody and be able to have other people condone the behavior. And I think the reason, again, that a lot of librarians operate like this is because when it comes to them actually dealing with their patrons, they will take a lot of disrespect off their patrons, and they will not do anything because they're scared. And I've had scary patrons myself. So like I've had patrons that I got into it with, but I had patrons also that I knew not to fuck with. And I don't say that lightly. There are going to be some patrons that just flat out disrespect you, and you know for your own safety that you're not going to do anything back. And that's just the way it is. Let it be, but don't take the frustrations and the pent up angst out on your colleagues. That's not fair. It's not right. Okay. And then the last thing that I want to say about this is there is an element of damned if you don't do, damned if you don't when it comes to this. So one thing that people are attacking BCALA on with this is that people are saying that You just apologize and you don't say anything else. You just apologize and you ask for forgiveness. You don't explain what happened. Now, I have seen other situations where people just apologized and Library Twitter responded with, so you're not going to explain what happened? You know, so this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing, honestly. If BCALA had not explained what happened, people would be like, oh, you're not going to explain what happened? Who are you protecting? Yada, yada, yada. But because they did, now people are like, this isn't how you apologize. You just say, I'm sorry. And it's because people can't be satisfied. People just have to be mad. They have to be angry. They have to be outraged. They can't be satisfied. Okay? But like I said, the tweet was offensive. I was offended by it, and I put something out. And I'm not even indigenous. I'm not even partially indigenous. I am African American with some slave owner genes mixed in. That's what I am. But you know, still, I was very upset by that tweet. And so I know indigenous people, definitely Amerindian, Latinx people were very offended by that, as well they should have been. So, you know, it is what it is. But please, when it comes to apologies, think about how sincere an apology really is if you tell somebody to apologize to a script. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I am Dr. Jace, and I am glad to no longer be sick. I hope I look better in the face. There we go, because I'm no longer sick. I will see you all next week in week 10 with something else, but I will communicate with you all in the discussion boards later. I will see those book reports this weekend.